Shrishtam Manamapi Putram Atra Surupam Rupam Tasya Krajamuri Purim Maturim Kushtuati Radha Kunda Magirivaram Oh Radhika Madhuvasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Sri Guru Tam Natosmi Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Itadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah Anandalila Maya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadyabhyatschabhi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Cham Sundar Shikhanda Shikhar Smaraha Smurali Manohara Radhika Rasika Mama Kripa Nidhe Supriya Charana King Kurim Kuru Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvayavana Iti Vigyaya Devi Tam Nayamam Charanantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers, thousands and thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadya Paramaradatam Guru Pada Padma, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashtotara Sata Sri Rupanuga Acharya Varya, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev and to Srila Prabhupada and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Vanchakalpatarubhasya, Kripa Sindhubhyavata, Putitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. By the causeless mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, we are most blessed today to have this opportunity to hear, chant, and remember, and glorify such a great Mukta Mahapurush, completely liberated, transcendental personality, an eternal associate of Radha and Krishna, an eternal associate of Sri Sachinandan Gohari, who mercifully appeared within this Kali Yuga. Though himself he was deeply absorbed in bhajan, he very kindly took the time to inspire the people of this world and turn them away from materialism and bring them on the path of auspiciousness in the eternal service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakura was extremely educated person, but he took shelter of Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who himself was from a poor family of grain merchants originally, and he was also apparently illiterate from the worldly point of view. And by this, he has illustrated that the Vaishnava is Saragrahi. He accepts the essence. Because as my Gurudev used to say, theoretical knowledge is no knowledge at all. Knowledge or darshan, philosophy, the Sanskrit word philosophy is darshan, and it actually means seeing, actually having a vision. It's not some armchair activity, something theoretical that a person who is, you see, material knowledge you can collect and collect and collect, regardless of your life and your behavior. Whereas spiritual knowledge, even if you don't have the theoretical knowledge, if one's achar, his behavior, is perfect in the sense of being surrendered in the service of his Gurudev and taking shelter of the holy name, then all the tattvas, all the divine knowledge will come automatically. and manifest in the heart by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he used to say that Saralata e Vaishnavata, simplicity is Vaishnavism. This is the main thing. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the Patit Pavan, the savior of the fallen. So being fallen is not a problem, but he's never been called Kapati Pavan, the savior of those who are full of duplicity, those who are dishonest, those who are deliberately cheating others and cheating themselves. So Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur used to say, it is better to take birth among the insects and animals and birds than to receive this human form of life and become duplicitous. So Saralata e Vaishnavata. This is the essence. And our previous speaker told a very beautiful pastime. And so I would like to elaborate on that a little bit, because it especially illustrates the Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's emphasis on simplicity in life. So it was on the 7th of November 1929 that Srila Prabhupada was visiting Lucknow, and he met with a retired judge. His name was Rai Bahadur Basu. And when that judge came to see Srila Prabhupada, he told him the story about his friend, and the name of his friend, it was not revealed, though the conversation has been recorded, but very often Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, they used to hide the identity of a person if it was something, let's say, inflammatory or would defame that person. So he's just recorded in history as R. Babu. We know his name began with R, but that's all. So R. Babu. So this judge was telling Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur about his friend who, when his daughter became sick, he was chanting the name of Gaur, Gaur day and night, and he was making so many pujas and offerings. And then on the last day of her life, from morning to evening, his daughter was experiencing very great difficulties in breathing. And so that must have been extremely painful for him to watch his daughter gasping for breath and trying to stay alive, only until 9 in the evening to see her pass away from this world. So he was devastated. And afterwards, he had declared, there's no Gauranga Mahaprabhu. This is all just for sentimental people. Because if there were a Gauranga Mahaprabhu, then he would have saved my daughter, and then my faith would have increased, and her faith would have increased, and all the family's faith would have increased, and we would have preached the glories of Mahaprabhu everywhere. And he didn't do it. So I simply don't accept that that he exists. So Srila Prabhupada, he spoke in reply to his friend, the judge, who was telling him the story. And some of that reply we've just heard from our distinguished previous speaker. Very beautiful katha. And so I want to touch on some other points that Srila Prabhupada raised at that time. He said, first of all, of course, that yes, that person, our Babu, has taken shelter of Mahaprabhu, one Mahaprabhu, and we have taken shelter of Mahaprabhu, but our Mahaprabhus are completely different. You see, the Mahaprabhu that he took shelter of, he considers to be like his gardener, like a menial servant who is employed in cleaning up in his garden and can order him around and tell him what to do, and who is at his service. But our Mahaprabhu is not like that. Ours is the Mahaprabhu of Srivas Thakur. So you know that Srivas Thakur was in a similar situation, that his son passed away during Mahaprabhu's kirtan. But Srivas Thakur, he did not want this news to come into the ear of Mahaprabhu. So afterwards, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found out, he said, Puta shoka najan mila jaimora preme, hena sabasanga mui charibe kamane. That because the thought had come in the mind of Mahaprabhu that I will take sannyas, I'll leave Navadvip. But when this incident happened, Mahaprabhu thought, how could I ever give up the association of Srivas Thakur, who loves me so much that even when his son died, he didn't want the news of that to disturb my kirtan. How could I leave him? So this is the Mahaprabhu. We want to love the Mahaprabhu is the object of love of Srivas Thakur. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, we want to serve that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the object of love of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami has said in his Tribhangima Stotram, Virachayima idandam dina bandhu dayamva gatira iyana bhavatta kachidannayamamasti nipatata shatakopti nir malamva navamba stadapikila payoda stuyate chatakena. Oh Krishna, oh friend of the poor, you can do with me whatever you like. You can give me either mercy or punishment, because I'm like a chatak bird. A chatak bird only takes water from the cloud, but the cloud may withhold the drops of water and may give a thunderbolt on that poor bird's head. But the chatak never looks anywhere else. He's only looking with pitiful eyes towards the cloud and begging for mercy. So in this way, my devotion to you is without any condition, because and this is the sign of simplicity. The sign of simplicity is that when we're faced with sufferings in our life, that instead of complaining or becoming upset or angry, that we welcome those sufferings and we accept them as the astonishing mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, in the mood of Radharani, was weeping in the Gambhira. Aslisyava padaratam pinashtumam adarshanam mama hatam karotuva yatha tatava vidadatu lampato mat prananatastu san eva napara. Radharani is saying to her Sakhis, because her Sakhi said, oh, why are you thinking about this Krishna? If he can leave you, you should also give up him. Radharani said, no, he's behaving in this way, which seems unfavorable, just to test my love. He's doing Prem pariksha. It's a test of love. So in our life also, we have to see that when a problem comes, this is not a problem. This is a pariksha. It's a test of our devotion. It's an opportunity to express more love to our Ishtadev. So Radharani said, Krishna can embrace me and make me feel like the most fortunate gopi in all the universe, or he can crush me in his embrace. He can break my heart by not being present before me. He's a lampat, he's a debauchee, he can do whatever he likes, but whatever he does, he's still my prananath. Radharani, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Radharani, he said, Nagani apanaduka sobi bancha tarasuka amara tatparya moriyadi diyaduka tarahoila masuka seiduka mora sukavarya. Radharani said to her Sakhis, I never count my own happiness or distress. I only live for Krishna's happiness. See, Krishna's happiness is amar tatparya. That means that's the purport of my entire life. So if Krishna, he gets happiness by giving suffering to me, then I accept that suffering as my greatest happiness. If Krishna is very eager to meet with one gopi, but she refuses to meet with him, and because of this, he's feeling some sadness, then I'll go to that gopi's house and I'll do her housework, and I'll take her by the hand and I'll bring her to meet with Krishna. And when she meets with Krishna, then my joy will know no bounds. I'll really understand the meaning of happiness. So what is so astonishing here, and as our Gurudev used to say, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Narayan Raj, he used to say that sometimes people criticize Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, saying he's only a tattva jnani. He only knows philosophy. He discusses the Saddarshans, Nyaya and Vaisheshik and Yoga Sutras and Purva Mimamsa and all of these things. And in this way compares them with Bhakti. So he's establishing the glory of Bhakti in a very dry and philosophical way, but he doesn't know about rasa. So Srila Gurudev said, actually the fact is this, that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, under the cover of Tattva Gyan, he was injecting the deep feelings of Radhika and the gopis of Vrindavan into the hearts of his disciples. So this is one illustration of that. On the pretext of giving someone advice about a person who'd given up faith in God, because their material desires were not fulfilled. Then he slowly made his way step by step into the very confidential bhavs of Srimati Radharani. It's something really, really extraordinary. So now coming back to this theme, you know, our Gurudev used to say that there are 4 verses that if you don't know any verses, at least 4 you should know. And one of them is Tattenukam Pamsu Samikshamano. One should accept everything to be the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And in the midst of all difficulties, offer obeisances by body, mind, and words, and glorify the Supreme Lord. And then one automatically becomes the rightful heir to Krishna's eternal service. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is speaking on this very important issue, which is really the test. It is the acid test to find out, do we have duplicity or not? Because only a person who is free from duplicity and really simple can truly accept all reversals in his life as the blessings of the Lord. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, in order to perform bhajan of our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not his Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then I have to reject the things of this world again and again, millions of times. I am ready to do that, which is whatever is against bhakti, I have to give it up completely. And I have to see that all the misfortunes that are coming in my life are actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kindly dragging me towards his lotus feet. And if some problem comes and I complain or see it in a negative way, then I say, oh Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are so kind because you have mercifully exposed my duplicity. And by giving problems to me in my life, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is making me detached from all things and teaching me, oh, my dear one, there is no external object in this world which is your shelter. Only my lotus feet are your shelter. So if a person belongs to the school of material enjoyment, when an obstacle comes, then he becomes angry. But this is not the mood of the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, we cannot estimate the extent of the auspiciousness that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving upon us all. In order to open our eyes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has meticulously arranged a series of various problems in this world amongst the various objects of our material pleasure. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, just see, he has given us poor health, and step by step, he has given so many dangers in our life. And he has shown us the temporary nature of everything. And in this way, he's in millions and millions of ways, he's giving mercy to us in the form of all these problems. So then Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he told his own story when he met a high court judge. And he went to visit him. His name was Mr. Datta. And his son was also on his deathbed. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur came there. And that judge, Mr. Datta, said to him, oh, look, you're a sadhu, so kindly restore my son's life. He's about to die, just bring him back to health. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, at that time, I said to him, I am not a master of life and death. I am not someone who can bestow material life in that way. But what I can do is I can try to change the way that you think. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he said that person, he was a very staunch follower of the 19th century French philosopher Auguste Comte. So Auguste Comte, as you may know, he was the father of logical positivism. And he is also responsible for coining the term sociology. So he's the father of the discipline of sociology and of the philosophical viewpoint of logical positivism, which only takes sensory data to be a valid type of knowledge, and one should analyze that without any preconceived metaphysical notions. So this judge, he was a follower of Auguste Comte. And he said to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, look, if your God really exists, then you should make him cure my son. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, I told him frankly, I will not make a campaign against the desire of Bhagavan. It's a very beautiful way to phrase our struggle with material nature. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur here is saying that when something happens and we don't accept it as God's mercy, that we're actually making a campaign directly against the desire of God himself. And he said, look, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful because he's decorated this world with hundreds and hundreds of problems. It's such a beautiful vision because the materialist looks at the world and thinks, oh, it's all dark and gloomy and problematic. But in the eyes of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, it's like it's Christmas time. The whole world is covered in decorations in the form of problems, and they're all Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he quoted a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karaha Vichar Karile Chiti Pave Chamatkar. If one will deliberate on the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he'll become struck with wonder. He'll be completely astonished. So it is not the duty of a jiva, a soul in this world, to forget Bhagavan. This world is not our eternal residence. Everyone in this world is just camping. I'm just staying at the moment with some friends in Dubai, and we meet with many wealthy people here. Last night I said to everyone, listen, you're all camping. It's just a campsite here because you come here for a few moments and you can't stay, and then you have to move on and continue on your journey. Where are you going? And so this was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was powerfully always expressing this vision. That we're not meant to be staying here in a state of forgetfulness of God. And in order to remind us of this at every moment, God is mercifully sending so many problems and obstacles in our pursuit of material happiness. So then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he began to quote some verses of the Mukunda Mala Stotram by Kinkula Shekhar. From the one of the Alvas, actually, from the Sri Sampradaya. He was very learned in the teachings of the other Sampradayas also. So he quoted one verse, Naham Vande Padakamalyo Dwandvam Adwandvaheto. Oh Lord Hari, it is not to be saved from the dualities of material existence, or even from the grim tribulations of Kumbhipaka hell, that I pray to your lotus feet. And it's not my purpose to enjoy the very soft-skinned, beautiful women of heaven who reside in the gardens of Indra. I'm only praying to your lotus feet that I can remember you alone within the core of my heart at every moment, lifetime after lifetime. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, our Mahaprabhu has prayed in the same way. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavidam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani shray bhavatad bhakti hoita ki tvai. I don't want money. I don't want followers. I don't want progeny. I don't want learning to be famous as an erudite scholar. I don't want beautiful women. I don't even want liberation. I just want that this love will rise up in my heart spontaneously at every moment for this love for your lotus feet. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said to that person right in front of his dying son, right there in front of his dying son, he said, I will not fall into a state of deception. Birth after birth, previously, I lived a life of duplicity, but in this life, I will not do it again. And not only that, I will also not involve you in my karmic reactions of my previous birth, because I have heard the instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam from the lotus feet of my guru. And then he quoted the very second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Dharamaha prajita kaitavatra paramone matsaranam satam. This Srimad Bhagavatam, prajita, that means it completely kicks out all kind of kaitava, cheating, all types of duplicity. And that duplicity manifests in the form of wanting to become free from material suffering, wanting to attain liberation, wanting to attain mystic powers, wanting to enjoy the heavenly planets and all of these things. All of these things have to be kicked out. And that is really the Saralata, the simplicity. And then to illustrate this simplicity, how can we illustrate and understand the nature of simplicity? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he began to paint a beautiful picture of his own Gurudev, Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, with great pride in his spiritual master, he said, my Gurudev, he never accepted service from other people. When someone used to approach him and try to serve him, he would say, I curse you and 14 generations of your ancestors, and they'll all be destroyed. And then he would say, you want me to become your servant in the next life? Because that's what it means. If you serve me now, that means I have to serve you in the next life. He said, so you want me to become your servant in the next life? You want me to make me your servant? So in my next life, I have to repay my debt to you? No, no, no. I'll only become the servant of the servants, of those who are the devotees of Krishna. Birth after birth. I don't want to be the servant of anyone except for Shrimati Radhika, Brishabhanu Nandini, the daughter of Brishabhanu Maharaj in Braja. Why? Because she is the person who renders the maximum service and gives the most happiness to Krishna. I only want to be her maidservant. So I'm not going to accept your service and that you will make me your servant. He said, Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj used to tell Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, only aspire for things which are spiritual. You don't need anything of this world. Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj, he could not read or write. He was not a scholar of Sanskrit grammar, Anuswara and Visarga. But tears used to stream from both of his eyes, and he used to cry out loudly by taking the names of Gaur Nityananda. Oh, Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai. I pray that I will never bring disgrace upon their holy names. Let us never desire such useless material trash, such as dharma, artha, kama, or moksha from Gaur Nitai. So he was expressing that whatever you can desire other than praying is just all trash. And you should never chant Gaura Haribol, Nitai Gaura Haribol with any such desire in the heart, because it will bring disgrace upon their names. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he explained that many times my Gurudev, Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj, he used to ask me, please, can you tell me what is written in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita? Please tell me what is written in Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't understand Sanskrit. I cannot read Bengali. I don't even know how to write. And then at that time I used to say to my Gurudev, oh, what can we say? In your very character, how you are weeping day and night for the service of Srimati Radhika, then we can directly see whatever is written in Chaitanya Charitamrita and whatever has been expressed in Srimad Bhagavatam. So in this way, Srila, through these anecdotes, I think that all devotees can experience that the purity, the simplicity, and the profound prem of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, the incarnation of Nayana Mani Manjari, shines forth so clearly, so vividly. So my Gurudev used to say that the eyelid spontaneously always protects the eye. If any dust or anything is coming towards the eye, then the eyelids close and the eyelashes brush it away. So in the same way, just as the eyelid spontaneously has a mood of protection towards the eye, so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is the incarnation of Nayana Mani Manjari, the jewel of the eye of Srimati Radhika. And so in that same way, Srimati Radhika is spontaneously always protecting her Palya Dasi, her maidservant, Nayana Mani Manjari. This is the Sambandha, beautiful relationship between Radhika and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in his eternal Swarup. So in this way, I try to stick. I began exactly on time and I finish exactly on time. So in this way, I offer my Shraddha Pushpanjali, the flowers of my faith, thousands and thousands of times at the lotus feet of my hero in my life, and such a great, influential and merciful Acharya, our Nitilila Prishtom Vishnupada Stodarastasi Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, thank you so much. You started you started by making the statement that theoretical knowledge is no knowledge at all. And then you went on to demonstrate how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada had both the theoretical knowledge and the realized knowledge, that he had both in one.
That the realized knowledge comes from being very simple, simplicity, free from duplicity, then it will descend by the mercy of our Guru Parampara. This is the main. Saralata. Saralata e Vaishnavata. Simplicity is Vaishnavata.
Thank you. Can I just quickly ask one question? You mentioned that Srila Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj said that there were 4 verses that we should know if we don't know any other verses.
Yes.
What are those 4 verses?
All right. So, first of all, of course, Trinada Pisu Nichena. Be more humble than only one who is more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, who gives respect to others without expecting respect for himself. He alone is eligible to chant the holy names continuously without offense. So Krishna Prem will come from this. So Srila Gurudev said, this is our Siddha Pranali. This is the channel by which we attain perfection in our life. So then the other important verse was, of course, Anyabilashta Shunyam Jnanakam Adinavritam Anukuyena Krishna Anusham Bhakti Uttama. Srila Rupa Goswami's most perfect, comprehensive, and precise definition of transcendental bhakti, Uttama Bhakti. Then the next one was the first verse of Upadeshamrita. Vacho vegam manasakrodha vegam jiva vegam udarpasta vegam etan vegan yovishheta dira sarvam apimam pritibim sasisyat. That one who can tolerate the urge to speak, the demands of the mind, the demands of the tongue, the belly, and the genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. This verse. And because this tolerance of the various urges, it's actually not bhakti, but it's like a uniform. If you want to go to school and study, because now it doesn't apply, but when I was a kid, if you wanted to go to school, you had to wear a uniform. And so in the same way, in this analogy, if we want to enter into bhakti, then we'll have to put on this uniform. And that is accept in our life that we cannot be hedonistic in any way, but we have to tolerate all the urges, because you can't light a fire while pouring water on the wood at the same time. So that's a very important verse. And then finally, the verse that we were more or less was the central focus of my offering to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur today, Tattenukam Pamsu Samikshamano, that the person who accepts everything as the Supreme Lord's mercy. And as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, more or less, just like at Christmas time, everything is decorated beautifully. You should think that the entire world is decorated beautifully with problems, which are all forms of the Lord's mercy that have come. He's coming meticulously with a plan to drag us towards his lotus feet. It's a beautiful vision. So in the midst of apparent problems, the person who is continually bowing down by body, mind, and words and glorifying the Lord, that person is the rightful heir to the service of his lotus feet. That means there's nothing more he needs to do. It's just a matter of time before he inherits the Nitya Nikunja Seva, the eternal service of Radha and Krishna in the Kunjas of Vrindavan. So that's the 4th verse. So that was Gurudev's minimum for everyone.
And someone is asking, just messaged me and said, what number canto verse is that?
I believe it's the 10th canto, chapter 14, verse 7 or 8.
Thank you.
It's from the Brahma Stuti, the prayers of Lord Brahma.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your offering and for giving us your time. We're very grateful to have you. People, Dandava pranams.